Hello, Drunkduckers. This is Ozone Ocean, and with me is Baines and Tansarine.
Hello.
Hello.
Huh? Tance has got more delay this time. Normally it's Baines, but this time it's Tance.
No, I just had to unmute. I'm trying to keep the cicadas as much as out as possible. I'm trying to censor them.
Oh, I wonder why we're talking about censorship. Could it be a third in the series? I don't know. More after the theme. And that was our little theme song. Cool. Okay, so now we're talking about the third in our series of censorshipping. So we began with censorship past, censorship in the old days, censorship about how it used to be, and the need for it too. And then we talked last week about how censorship is now on the internet. You know, not direct government censorship anymore, but corporate censorship and all kinds of weird community censorship. So, you know, how things have changed because technology's changed and everything like that. So we chatted about that. And now we're talking about how it applies to Drunkduck and how it should apply to Drunkduck and how it shouldn't apply. So all those sort of things. This is, the natural conclusion to the whole censorship triumvirate trilogy.
The saga.
The saga. The great saga. So, yeah.
The censorship that everyone fears most. The future. Actually, no, it's the duck, not the future.
But before we get into that, I'm going to bring up the featured comic. So I'm censoring everyone because the featured comic is coming in strong, coming in hard, coming in fast. With Quackcast telling us about Le French Ninja, a true story. Okay, Kawhi, tell us.
Hello, this is Quackcast, and the feature I have selected for this week is Le French Ninja, a true story by GRKZTR, and it is rated E for everyone. It is the early 90s when a random stranger approaches two friends and asks if they would like to become ninjas. What follows is an intensive training course in sparring, jumping over sword strikes, and access to the most exclusive mail-order catalog specializing in ninja equipment. One 11-year-old's true life story of plastic bag hijinks from the third story to becoming part of a ninja troupe that would perform tricks at a public park in broad daylight. The coloring style is completed in black and white, save for the cover. Black pen and ink technique used for texture and shading. Pick up a pair of nunchaku and a handful of shurikens and read Le French Ninja, a true story by GRKZTR, rated E.
And that was Quackcast with her comic feature, which was Le French Ninja, a true story. So, yeah, he's telling us about that. That's lovely. Okay, so now we have the featured theme. Gunwallace has given us a theme this week, and it is a theme to a comic I featured just the other day, which was Mr. Maneater. Mr. Maneater. So I'm going to tell you about Mr. Maneater now. Gunwallace's theme for this week was Mr. Maneater, a magically expressive carillon. Warm yellow and pink light sparkles as it flows from one side of the room to the other in a mystical swirl. Take it away, Gunwallace, with your theme to Mr. Maneater. And that was Gunwallace's theme to Mr. Man-Eater, which is a comic by G, and it's rated M for mature. That was the theme to Mr. Man-Eater. Okay, now we are discussing censorship. This whole horrible, dark topic. Censorship. So I think the cover should be of photos of us with censor bars all over us. I love it in
Or we should be doing the see no evil, hear no evil, say no evil. Mind me, yeah.
That's a good one. I love it in when people do like a like take a song or like a short clip from a movie and censor every second word, and it sounds like they're saying horrible, disgusting things.
I've never heard that.
No. But it's like, you're saying something and it's like, oh yeah, and I told him the other day, beep, that he was a beep, and he shouldn't ever do
yes,
beep.
Yes. Yeah, that's also
Yeah. So, but your mind fills in the blanks with all kinds of things that it thinks should be there, and it turns out to be something a lot more offensive than it would otherwise be, which is how censorship often works. And it's how a lot of things work, because your brain fills in things that are much worse because you're already conditioned to thinking, okay, so this means something bad, so something bad must be happening. Something really bad must be happening here. And maybe something was cut out of there, so something even worse happened there. But the reality is it's often a lot tamer than that. So that's one of the ways censorship can work. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about how it should apply to Drunkduck. So how do we do censorship on Drunkduck? Well, we don't really censor things, but we do have content restrictions because we've got community guidelines. And then we've got terms of service that people have to sign up in order to be on the site, something like that. I don't even know. The site runs so well with people just doing kind of managing stuff themselves and just keeping within normal community guidelines that we don't even have to actively police this stuff because the site just runs well. We've got a good community. People are respectful of each other and they're sensible. That the site has been just... And the community is active but small. So,
right.
Yeah, things have been going along very well for the past, I don't know, however many years. Many years. So we haven't had to do too much work. I mean, we did really have to work at it back in the early days of the site when it was exploding. Especially during the Platinum era and the WoWio era, when we had massive user base. We had all these people coming in hoping to be discovered, and because the site's kind of visibility was increased with this commercial stuff, we had massive user base. And of course, when you've got a massive user base, you have a huge bell curve of behavior. You have these people in the middle on the top of the bell curve who are really good and kind of sensible. Then you have people on the edges who are like stupid and testing the waters, deliberately testing, or they're just really immature or whatever, and they don't know what to do. But when the site has got a much smaller user base as it is now, you don't have that great diversity of human personalities. So things are a lot easier to track, and it just doesn't attract so many crazies.
I would argue that even back then, like I remember those days, those days back, and the vast majority of users were normal in the sense of they were respectful people, not eager to test the limits of what was permissible and what wasn't. And then there was this wave that came and went of people looking to be acerbically telling what it is, tough love, the feedback, but they were actually just trashing comics and abusing them, abusing the creators. But that was like a wave of people that came and went. It was like a transient thing. I think it lasted all of it, maybe a year or two, and then these people just were gone. They slid off like mud off glass.
Well, there was that aspect. There definitely was that aspect because there was like a campaign within the site for like honest feedback on comics like that, and, you know, because everyone was tired of like, oh, Drunkduck, we're too like fake and extra friendly, and everyone's always rating everyone 5 and being too nice because they're scared of, you know, being criticized themselves and having their own comics trashed. So we're going to be brave and just go and. So there was that. You're right, but there were different kind of aspects to things that needed to be looked after. Like there was forum behavior. We had a huge group in the forums. Like we had the Top Drawer forum, of course, which was a became a real issue and became a community problem. It started out just being something fun, and then the behavior overflowed. Then we had craziness and all kinds of crap, and that was led by a few specific silly individuals who just, you know, just wanted to test the waters, and that in turn drew more people with that kind of attitude from outside the site, you know, to become part of the site. So we had more of a kind of growing core of that. So they weren't just people on the site who turned to that, and then there were people on the site who did get influenced by it and went crazy and went silly, and yeah, it was just like kind of blowing up, and eventually we had to get rid of it. So that was a big issue. And there were always other issues that were like the sprite comicers would always have battles between each other. That was an ongoing thing. The skirmishes between the sprite comics. If we're doing it like a Drunkduck history,
I remember that. Oh my god, that's such a flash from the past.
Still happens too, every now and
Like
again.
they were competitive and they were going after each other personally.
Yep, because often they knew each other. They're all in high school together. Then there were ones that would go, "Oh, this person stole my sprites and recolored them, and this person stole my sprites and recolored them. They're making fun of me, and then they're making fun of me, and then yeah." So there was always that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was just because the age group of those people, rather than anything else. Yeah, and there were other examples. Like we had one person. I mean, it's not good to name names, so I won't. But there was one person who was old enough to know better, who struck up this weird feud against a few comicers, and old enough and wealthy enough to know better, and he invested a lot of resources into harassing a lot of other members of our site and their comics. And it was very, very hard to sort that problem out because this person was obviously, you know, like in their 40s and quite wealthy and well connected, and they were behaving like that on our site. So very well connected, like connected to the Wowio Platinum kind of people as well. So not directly connected, but sort of tangentially connected, and so they were a problem. And so there were always issues, but now the site, like maybe for the last 15 years or something like that, the site's run extremely well. So we've done well.
Great.
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys about that story afterwards.
I want to hear about
it. Yeah, because I'm curious now. But yeah, I mean, and why are we ending up having basically a trilogy on censorship, and what happens on the dark? and where the limits are and stuff. Because there has been a challenge these days, like this past week or so, about what is and isn't appropriate, and how we should be reacting to certain content. And I'm not going to be at all specific because that's not the issue. That has been mostly, at least, I think, resolved. And if there is anything left, it will also be resolved because everybody is being very mature about it. But the idea was, okay, we do not want to censorship anyone that is not doing something that is illegal or, very, very extreme that goes into the area of abuse. So what happens when the material is not for everybody? And that brought back this discussion that we're having now.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the site involves comics of all different kinds, and one of the things people really love about Drunkduck is it's relatively free in what the kind of content you can post, more than most other sites. We make sure about doing that, and we like to keep people. We like to be in a fairly agnostic host and a fairly objective host. So that way we're not going to people, okay, so we only really want this kind of stuff, from this political perspective or that political perspective. We don't do that, and we give people a lot of freedom because these days there are very few places where you can really publicly post interesting content. Like you think, oh my god, the internet is so amazing and so wide, you can post anything anywhere, but in reality you can post stuff where no one is ever going to see it because the internet is way more limited now than it ever has been in history. So yes, so there's that. But the site does have our front-facing parts, which are people's comic blurbs and comic thumbnails, which those things both will appear on the front page. Comic blurbs only appear on the front page when people mouse over over a thumbnail of a comic, but the comic thumbnails appear on the front page when they've been updated or if they're in the top 10, something like that, or in Quail's random. So it helps not to have us have the front page being problematic, shall we say, would have imagery that is inappropriate on the front page. For that reason, we encourage people not to have sexual organs in their thumbnails. It shouldn't be like problematic symbolism on there as well, because that can taint the front page, regardless of contextual meaning or whatever the symbolism can. It's not that it's offensive. It can bring the site into question.
Yeah, but it's not only that. It's within your comic, whatever symbol will come into context, and people that follow your comic are going to get it. But the blurb is out of context. The thumbnail is out of context and can only be out of context because you have to assume that people that don't know about your comic look at it. And so like when you put a symbol that is very politically or theologically or I don't know, or illegally tainted, then people will not necessarily look for the context, and they will not necessarily assume that it's just your comic, but they may assume that it is the entire site. So we cannot have that because we want people of all audiences to be able to use the site comfortably. And therefore, all common areas should be comfortable for everyone.
Exactly. Yeah, we're encouraging people to enjoy and use the site and have a good experience. So, yeah, there are a number of different reasons. So it's that, and there's also we want to keep the site viable and going and protected, which certain things, if they're too problematic, they could get us into trouble, and then we won't have a site anymore, And we've already run into that with Meta, people who run Instagram totally deleting our official Drunkduck Instagram, and then the new one that I started up to replace that just completely deleted, banned. So I won't be going back to Instagram with Drunkduck.
And so that should be something that we, like, I would openly ask our users, like, we are all for freedom and we are never going to censor free speech, but also try not to harm us, because then the free speech is going to go with us. So keep the sensitive stuff in your own comic area, and let people, like, warn people what it is that they're going to be clicking on, so that whoever complains afterwards can be told that, it's on you. You knew what you were clicking on before you clicked on it.
Yeah, because like we say, we are one of the very few little bright guiding lights left in the world of the internet, and in order to maintain that position, we need to fly underneath the radar in stealth mode. So.
And it's not even, I wouldn't even call it stealth mode. We have to just keep certain principles that permit these things. Like, as I said before, all the common areas have to be suitable for work. They have to be suitable for your grandma. They have to be suitable for your mom.
Well, when we say common areas, we mean the forms of the site, like the front page, the forums, the main part of the forums, all that kind of stuff. But it's tricky because adult comics can have their own forums and they can do what they want. The Discord server has its own weird areas, so it varies. I'm not really on the Discord server, but yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I'll check real quick. But on the Discord, the not suitable for work chats and art sharing and stuff is age restricted for a reason. So it is. Same goes for, like, this is the general principle. If it is not age restricted, you have to protect us so we can protect you.
Yeah.
In return.
Exactly. Which that makes sense. Yeah, because like we say, it's a community site, so we're all helping each other. We're all making sure that we continue to be a site and a place that people can use for their work, and your work continues to be displayed. I think that's all it comes down to, really, isn't it?
Exactly. And all three of us have, I think, like, correct me guys if I'm wrong, but all three of us have different, like, sensibilities and different tastes in what we like to read and don't like to read. That has absolutely nothing to do with what we quote unquote allow on the site. Like, there are certain comics that I wouldn't touch personally. However, I will absolutely protect their right to be on our side. I will just never go there.
Yeah.
So, in that sense,
Exactly. Like, there's those disgusting Star Trek comics. Anytime we see them, I just go, oh my god, that's too obscene.
yeah,
those
because
red
we
shirts.
hate Star Trek.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So, I like Baines and Tants, look at those ones for me and report back, and then I decide to ban them. I'm joking, of course I don't.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the general idea. And there is also another thing. I wouldn't, I cannot stop you from doing it. Go ahead and do it if you want, but if you can help it, don't test the limits of what is permissible. There is no reason to do that. You can absolutely, you will have such broad freedom on the site that you can make a point without going on the edge and putting us on a hot spot for this.
See,
Yeah.
in the past, we've had, I talked about the sprite comicers who were doing, had various issues. There were people who would make comics that would directly attack other people, not sprite comicers, just normal comic artists who would do.
Yeah.
The only purpose of the comic was to attack other comic artists, and that's so weird to me that people would do that, but people did it, and that had to be addressed, censored.
Yeah.
And I'm no longer updating my comment that Ozone Ocean is a big stupid head.
Well, he is. Oh my god, Bates, why did you stop? People need to know that he is a big stupid head.
The Emperor has no clothes featuring Owen.
Exactly. No clothes and a tiny little tadger, so that needs to be publicized.
Yeah. What? Speaking of, not the Emperor, Oz is amazing, and he has way too many clothes. But maybe we should rehash certain things that we actually will not tolerate on site beyond the obvious, because stuff that is illegal is off limits for the site. It will get you banned. We don't need, I think, to list that. I think that's self-explanatory.
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking illegal, it concerns graphic imagery that is certain kinds of pornography, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that will not be allowed on the site.
Yeah. Also, I don't know. I'm trying to think something that goes beyond pornography, maybe, I don't know, making a comic endorsing someone's assassination. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, you could have depictions of, graphic depictions of violence, stuff like that, like people being shot or people being injured or wounded. If you had photos of that kind of stuff, I'm not going to tolerate that.
Sorry. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there are different aspects of this stuff. There can always be things that will go too far. I remember,
if you draw it, it will have to be A, rated A.
But I remember back in the day when there was the whole, Iraq War II that was happening, and someone posted imagery of Saddam Hussein being executed.
Oh my God!
And that was, and I was just a newbie to being an admin then, and that was, for me, that was immediate, no, shut this down. I don't want this in the forums. I don't care who it is. We're not having any imagery referring to this at all. That's the end of that.
Yeah. I would do the same. There's no reason for that kind of that sort of footage is, in my opinion, hardcore. No reason for it to exist there.
Yeah. But even discussion, really kind of saying, yeah, assassinate, like execute, all that kind of stuff. That was a bit much. Yeah. But like a really kind of obviously bad copyright theft can be an issue. I mean, copyright theft, but copyright infringement, I should say. So if we're doing like, that's a tricky thing because there's fair use, and us as admins or moderators, all that kind of stuff. It's not really our job to judge someone's fair use. But if it goes,
we're not lawyers or experts.
Exactly, we're not.
Yeah, but you know what? If it is art theft, then it has to go.
Art theft, yeah. Okay, so that's the one thing. That is the one thing we've had to deal with in the past. People posting artwork and saying it's theirs when it's not. It's stolen from someone else. That happened a few times, and I'm sure there's plenty of comics on the site now that do it. They just fly under the radar, and we haven't caught them. So yeah, that is freaking bad. Claiming someone else's art as yours, that's really nasty.
Yeah,
so
that's a deal breaker.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
But
even then,
I
was going to say, I'd approach the people and talk to them about it and say, look, this isn't good. Either take it down or we'll have to do something about it. I wouldn't just go, ban you and not allowed on the site. There would be discussion.
No, I agree that some kind of heads up is warranted. Just outright banning people without warning is a very bad thing, especially if they might have some kind of recourse. Maybe they are not actually, for example, stealing art, and they can prove that it is theirs.
That happens.
So if you ban them immediately, how are you going to know? So there's that, which brings me to something else. Oh, please go on.
I was just going to say, like, real examples of that. Like, when that happens, when people have a claim of stolen artwork, I have to go into investigation mode. I can't just say, yeah, that's stolen. Yep. I have to go, okay, so when was this posted on this thing? What was the date of that work posted versus the date of this work posted? Like, who is the owner, who is really the owner of this? Are you legitimate or are they legitimate? Like, and I have to go, I hate those kind of things because you have to really approach it seriously. You can't just say, yep, that person's made a complaint, so that must be right. You have to go, okay, who is being genuine here? Who is really at fault? Because sometimes it is complicated. Like, things are created as part of like a group collaboration that failed, and one person thinks they should have control and the other person thinks they should have control. So there's those kind of things. It's not always just straight out theft of someone's work. It can be broken down partnerships and things like that result in these kind of complaints. So yeah, you have to be careful.
Exactly. And that's like, taking opportunity from here, I would like to say you have to be a bit patient when these things happen, and we have to work through them and find the proper solution, and not just bring down hammers on people willy-nilly. And I'm saying that because in the situation that occurred like recently, these past few days, I was contacted by a person that was complaining, and I told that person, like, okay, we are working through it. We're going to see what's what, and we're going to handle it. Just please stand by, because we are juggling a gazillion things. It's not just this one thing that we are doing. Plus, this is not our job. We're not paid to do this, so we actually have other stuff that we need to do. And because the thing was not resolved immediately, like within the hour even, like, or the half day or whatever, that person left the site, feeling that we were not a safe enough community. I cannot help that. There's nothing I can do about that. that please give some reasonable amount of time for us to be able to normally check through things and make something, like make decisions properly based on on fact, and after some time to deliberate what the best strategy is to address certain things.
Exactly, because what happens is you actually become part of the problem. If if you want to make a complaint and then go, oh yeah, this isn't being dealt with fast enough, blah 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 blah, then you make everything more difficult and you're actually becoming part of the issue. So if you want to get something solved, then you've got to be patient. You've got to treat other people like human beings, because the main kind of terms of service thing or guideline thing on our site has always been, since the very beginning, don't be a dick. Don't be a dick to people. And that functions in all sorts of ways. That functions in people being a dick to others by posting problematic stuff, but it also matters in being a dick to people saying, you should do this now, you should do that. So you're then, you're being like the proverbial Karen, like you become the problem. You're not trying to help solve it. Yeah, so there's those kind
on
of
the
issues.
flip side. Yeah, on the flip side, if something is bothering you or if something disagrees with you that has to do with site, don't wait and build resentment and then just explode on us out of nowhere, because we might legitimately not have noticed or not have noticed in the way you have. So if there is something that is bothering you, PQ or DM or message or email any one of us immediately, so that we can see what is happening. Don't just because, and I'm saying that because again, regarding this situation, I saw certain comments saying, "Yeah, I have been seeing this, and this happening, and it has been making me sick." Yeah, but you didn't tell. For example, you didn't tell me so that I could tell us, or you didn't tell us directly. Like, why would you be waiting and not tell me, or tell us, or tell them?
Like I've seen that myself. Like I only manage certain parts of the site because I can only manage certain parts of the site. I can't see everything. I'm not omniscient. So and certain times I've seen people.
How dare you? You should be everywhere, all at once.
Exactly. I've seen people come up with these complaints saying, "Oh, the site has this and it encourages this and there's this attitude and stuff." And I've not seen it because I just don't view those parts of the site. I don't see those comments and I don't see those comics and stuff. And so how can we ever fix this if you never come to us and talk about it? So things could change. Exactly like you say, Tance. Exactly as you just. I'm just reiterating it, but from my own point of view, when I am seeing that myself.
No. Repetition is good in this case. And I would also say that we might, and there might even be another situation where we might have seen something, but not taken it that way, for whatever reason. Like, we might not have seen that this is offensive to certain people, for example, or this is insulting, or whatever. It may not have registered. Sometimes, and for example, I catch myself often speed running through stuff, through private messages that I get, and through some comments that I read, and stuff that I do on the site. And because I'm juggling it, for example, right before I go to bed, I'm half asleep, and I have to do it because then if I don't do it now, it will accumulate for next day, if you know what I mean. But I don't actually focus fully on all of it, so I may miss certain things.
Yeah.
And then I will pay attention. It's as simple as that.
Same with me. And sometimes there's such a volume of communication that you cannot, focus on the whole thing. So you have to skim some of it, and you do miss things. So
yeah.
There's that. I mean, and sometimes you're dealing with so many things. Like even this week when we had to deal with this particular issue that has resulted in this happen. Like I was dealing with so many different things and it was so stressful. And this on top of it turned out to be like another big worry, and it would just cause me so much stress and anxiety having to deal with this and having to think about it, a sensible way that sort of would be good for everybody. And that was really hard. So yeah, you've got to respect it when you hear me.
Same here. I felt like it occupied part of my mind for this week, basically. And especially trying to explain, like, listen, we are working through this. We are going to hit we're going to take action on certain things. But give us time, my God, like, don't assume that we are endorsing or not endorsing certain things. What I'm saying is, there was this sense that we were being castigated for not being fast enough or not being efficient enough. And that was extremely stressful, considering that everything is being done just because we believe that this platform should exist. Yeah. There's no other reason that we're doing this. So.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to keep ourselves safe and able to continue as we have been. So that's the most important thing for all of us. So basically, we're all working together.
Exactly. And we are designing, new stuff, exciting stuff, and even if it goes like at a snail pace, it still is going. So, and especially us does so many things out of pocket, and
literally,
and that, like, we are a completely different side than a corporate side, because we're not a corporation. So, and all the stuff that we're introducing, all the stuff that we're designing, we do it to showcase comics and give everyone a chance to be celebrated.
And maintain our community.
Mm-hmm.
Maintain it as a community as well. People have a bit of a voice on the site. I mean, I know there's Comic Fury, which was like a little baby ages ago, and now they've turned into a great big monster. But so you can post there as well. But I think we're a bit more agnostic, a bit more objective than they are.
We are a little bit more. We're a bit freer. But they are also quite laissez-faire, but we're a bit more laissez-faire than they are.
Yeah. I mean, we don't want to be prescriptive in the kind of content that you can have on our site. We don't want to say, okay, so, like, we judge, and we don't prejudge people based on our own, what would you say, biases and stuff like that. We want to keep, like Chance said before, even if we disagree with stuff, even if we don't like, even if it's not our thing, we're still open to it. There are, of course, limits, but we are pretty open to things, whereas a lot of other sites perhaps are not.
And we pride ourselves on actually being that, because it's one thing to pay lip service to being, we like creative freedom, blah 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 blah, but the moment that something steps on your toes, you kick it. We actually consciously do not do that.
Creative freedom's great as long as it's not over here.
Yeah. You are free to post anything. I approve. Yay!
Yeah.
So yeah. Another thing I have to stress very, very, very much is that another thing that will get you banned if you don't stop it, because again, we always give you a chance to amend things, is if you are abusive to others. That is not tolerated here, because we want everybody to feel welcome and comfortable on this side.
And we don't get a lot of that because a lot of our members are very mature these days.
Yeah.
I mean, people start on our site like as 17-year-olds or whatever back in the day, and they've, because the site's been around like over 20 years. Now there's people quite a bit older, so they've grown up with us and stayed on the site, so they've matured along with us.
Yeah,
it's cool. But we have people of all ages on the site. It's good. Another thing I was thinking of was oh damn it, it's gone out of my freaking head. You go on.
yeah. I got nothing right now.
I had this really good point about people on the site. Damn it, Baines, tell us something.
Oh well, if I can ask, I would love to know how did you deal with the comic books who were attacking each other in their comics? I cut you off with a joke at the time. How did you go about dealing with that?
What, the people who were attacking each other?
Yeah.
Well, when people were directly attacking each other, I would like talk to them and keep on talking and keep on asking them to stop and keep on asking them to behave until they did, basically. And that was a real pain in the bum because you just have to keep on going on and on at people until they wise up. And if they don't, then you have to go, okay, sorry. That behaviour can't be tolerated anymore. I'll have to get rid of you. But I don't think that happened very much. I think people did listen to reason in the end. So,
yeah.
I mean, there are times when I had to like totally delete a comic and totally like ban the person from the site because their only purpose on the site was to make a disgusting attack on someone else's comic, and anything they posted on the forums was a disgusting attack on that person. So then what can you do about that? And they didn't answer comments like when I was sending them messages and stuff like that. They didn't answer back. So sorry, but you disqualify yourself.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like, I can name this because this happened a long time ago, and this person is now unfortunately deceased. George Ford, I think the name was, which was this amazing comic artist who'd been doing this comic for years and years and years, and developed quite a profile. He was this good guy, and he hosted his comics on our site. And some younger person would have been about, I don't know, maybe 19 or something, had made a comic about saying, oh, George Ford is this and that, like, making direct attacks against him, and then would copy and paste his comic and change the word bubbles of these characters to say offensive things to each other. So it's art theft and also defaming someone at the same time. So yeah, that I actually had talked with George about that, saying, is this something like, because sometimes when those things happen, it's like an in-joke between people. So it's like a if something's that extreme, often these days that's because it's planned out that way. So I directly asked him, and he said, no, that was like this guy was actually stalking me, and he was doing this, and I was offended by it. And so I said, okay, he's gone then. That was that's not, tolerable, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's a really good example.
Like if I saw someone going stealing art and also slandering the artist they stole from, or stealing art and
Yeah.
slandering, like I would check, like, is this a parody that you guys are doing or something? But if that was not the case, I would immediately ban this person. Like, I would do that. Would be perhaps the only occasion for me to do that if it was up to me. So
Yeah, that, because that is, all ticks all the boxes of being a dick, and he's solidly in that in that spectrum. So
exactly.
That's why that has always been our golden rule: don't be a dick to people. Because it factors in so many ways. Although, what was I thinking of before? You can make specific rules about behavior and what people can do and what people can't do, but reality never fits neatly into those kind of things, and you can never accurately fill up all the different variations of human behavior that are going to fit into something. So stuff like this always has to be not policed, but has to be reevaluated and has to be looked at with a conscious human mind, and you're using your own judgment to see how it goes and how it fits into things. That's how it has to be, I think.
Yeah.
Especially on a site like ours that is not so huge anymore, and even though it is stressful and we are overloaded with a lot of work sometimes, we still have enough freedom of time and space that we can look at these things individually. Sure, like Instagram and these crap kind of corporate sites are so bloody massive with billions of users that is impossible, and they have to use their terribly coded AI to evaluate these things. But we don't. We are a good site. We're doing things as they should be, with actual humans judging things, not leaving stuff up to AI to manage it. That's the thing. Like Facebook and I don't know, whatever else, Twitter. These things are so huge that they need AI to do it. But that's a matter of their own choice. They've let themselves get so huge that they need that kind of stuff. They have gone down that road deliberately because that's what makes them the most money, and that's their objective. So it's not just a fact of they need AI. What else? What else can they do? No, bloody hell, they've made themselves need AI. They want to be in that position where they need AI to manage that stuff. So they don't get any...
You would think they you would think they are, they're not poor. They can hire an army of admins to have people look at all of these things.
Yeah, they're earning so many billions of dollars, and they could just invest in like managing their site culturally, so it could manage itself. Like Twitter before that idiot Elon Musk bought it, had this kind of like really amazing team of people managing it, who did look at various cases and stuff like that. I'm sure they had bots and stuff that would help them, but they did kind of evaluate things and manage it a lot better than it is now. And when you are wanting to create an internet kind of service that does manage so many billions and billions of people, you can deliberately invest in creating a culture where things kind of do politically manage themselves in a way that's more human and more kind of I don't know, it can structurally manage itself versus something that automatically manages itself, because you cannot rely on AI to do that. AI is moronic. It's very good at certain repetitive tasks, and it's good at pretending to be human in some ways, but it can't govern us in any way, or it can't police us either. And that's what they're making it do.
AI can't think. It's as simple as that. There is no intelligence, artificial or actual, behind it. It's a machine that repeats things according to certain algorithms, and all it does. It doesn't think. It doesn't have the ability to contextualize stuff. It cannot evaluate anything. It does not evaluate things, period. And people, and especially the creators of AI, of this kind of AI, have this fetish where they really want to anthropomorphize it in a sense. That like you were supposed to be the people that don't believe in imaginary characters, right? And
Yeah.
omniscient beings, like, and you are basically building your own god in a sense, the way they are treating it. So very ironic to me, but that's a different discussion.
I cannot stand anthropomorphization of AI. I can't. It's just, oh my god, it rubs me the wrong way. Even these stupid films that approach it in that way, and so many have. You know, there's that She, I think, with that Phoenix, you know, one of those people, Joaquin Phoenix, and there's a few others, and always like the AI takes the form of some sexy woman or whatever, and this guy falls for her. That seems to be always the way people do it. Stop humanizing AI. It's Bicentennial Man. I haven't seen that one. I should watch Bicentennial Man. Yeah, Tance, it's a good example. But yeah, I can't stand that idea. These bloody chatbots people give you instead of talking to a real human when you have to have an issue solved, and they say, "Oh yes, we've called this Olive, and you have to speak to it, and it talks to you like it's a real human being." Oh, it shits me so much. It's a machine. Make it talk like a machine. Don't make it pretend it's a human. That's a personal bugbear of mine.
It's normal. I mean, I don't like it either, and especially when you encounter them now a lot on phone calls. Like instead of putting you on hold, they have this AI voice trying to handle your call when you know that it cannot handle your call because it's a very specific thing that you want to talk to a person about. A situation, but it does its freaking best to not connect you to a human. And yeah, it's the most frustrating thing. Like I spend easily 10 minutes to an hour to
yeah, going backwards and forwards, trying to get your damn problem solved, or you're trying to get things up to a level where you can actually talk to an actual human who can actually solve the problem because the AI has limited programming.
Exactly. And then after like 15 minutes have passed, 20 minutes have passed, I finally talk to a person and my issue is done in like 5 minutes.
Precisely. Yeah. Yes, I mean, maybe AI will be nice and human one day. It's not yet.
No.
Sorry, guys. So, F off with your crappy AI. Alright, so, this has been the third in the censorship cast stuff, and we should end now, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Okay. And thank you for listening to the end. So now you know what to do and what not to do on our side.
Yes. Take us out with a song, babe.